what I'm going to do, I'm speaking about 5 factors for a 5-day flip. And I am going to, my printer just started printing something. I'm going to pause after each one of the 5 factors. I'm a former middle school teacher, so I love to get questions while we're going through, while it's fresh and having to do with the topic at hand. So today, let me see, there we go. All right, so I am Jen Josey. I'm a former middle school teacher. I taught middle school for 16 years. I woke up one day and realized I hated children. So I went into an equally abusive industry and went into healthcare insurance. And it was from there that I met I heard one of those late night gurus on TV, and my husband Vance and I, we signed up for it. We started becoming real estate investors in 2017. I was able to quit my corporate America job after about 8 months. And we opened Jolific Homes, which my last name is Josey. And we have this ongoing joke in our house where our backyard, we call it the Joasis. We have the Josebo. So I love the word prolific, and I wanted my business to be prolific. So we opened Jolific Homes as our business. And then we did Jolific Properties. And then I created an online mastermind. My friend Linda Jordan, who was just on, inspired me to create this mastermind. And I do a podcast as well. Stacy, I interviewed on my podcast. I interviewed Christy, who you all heard earlier this morning. Tomorrow morning, Joanna Anderson. So I got some great podcasts out there. It is Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast, if you want to check that out. I married Vance, and I'm the mother of 4 furry children. So 5 factors, if I can move this on my screen, there we go. So 5 factors for a 5-day flip. So I don't have access to the chat box right now, but sorry, it's not on my screen. But in the chat box, if you have never flipped a house before, you're here to start learning, throw out a 1 right now in the chat box. So Stacy, we're getting a lot of 1s. I can't see it.
Lots of 1s. Lots of 1s.
And then if you have flipped houses and, you know, you're like 5 days, really, Jen, put out a 2 if you have flipped houses before and you are like, what is this 5 days about? So put out a 2 if you have flipped houses before, but never in 5 days. How are we doing, Stacy?
Lots of 2s.
All right, excellent. So 5 factors are the type of property that I do in 5 days, my marketing, my team of contractors, which is huge, tighter profit margins, and financing. So those are the things I'm going to touch base on. And like I said, I will take questions at the end of each one. I'm going to ask Stacy to help me out with that. And by the way, Stacy, like, thanks for putting this together. And when you said you were a giver, you know, I just recently met you through Christy Duckett. You know, Christy, thank you for the introduction. And you are truly such a giver, and it's crazy how there's so many people in this industry, and our circles, our paths just crossed recently. So thank you so much for putting this together, and I'm so honored to be a part of it. All right, so first one here, we're going to talk about the type of property that I flip in 5 days. Now, I do plenty of large renovations. I will pop the top, I'll take off the roof, add a second floor, take a 2-1 cottage and turn it into a 4-3 house for a family. So I do those. For my 5-day flips, I love a condo or townhome. I love them that are built in the 80s or 90s. I'm very specific on what I look for. I like an ARV. I'm located in Raleigh, North Carolina. I saw a bunch of people from Raleigh, by the way. So I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. I love an after repair value of about $200,000. I love a condo or townhome because the HOA covers the exterior. So you really just have to go in and, fix what's inside the property. When you are working with condos and townhomes, you want to make sure that you are aware of assessments. So yesterday I missed, excuse me, I missed the second half because I let wholesalers in the area know, if you ever find a condo or townhome, I love them. And so I got to message during about noon yesterday about a condo or townhome in Durham, North Carolina, and I saw it at 5 o'clock and we're under contract. So they know to bring them to me first and I'll snatch them up. And then also with condos or townhomes, when you just do simple updates in them, you get much higher returns. So the type of property is key here. You can't, I'm not going to tell you you can flip a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, that needs, walls rearranged or whatever. You can't do that in 5 days. So this is a very specific area where I focus on. So are there any questions? And Stacy, if you'll help me if there's any questions, I can't see it.
Not yet, but I will.
Okay. All right, I'm going to keep going then. All right, so for marketing, so what I do, I will do a mailer to an entire neighborhood, and I pull up the neighborhoods through county GIS systems. That's the Geographical Information System. Every county in the US has one of these, and you can go in there for free and find properties. You have the owner's name, first and last name, their address. If they don't live in the property, then you have their mailing address. So there's, a community near my house where it's, townhomes, and I will pull all the addresses and all the owners' names, and I will send them letters. For me, there's less competition when I'm marketing, but however, it's a longer waiting game here. So let me move this. But with condos or townhomes, being a former teacher myself, I lived in 3 townhomes prior to getting married, and I lived in them an average of 4 years each one. So even though there's a longer waiting game, they're typically transition houses. So it's people who are waiting for their forever home. Maybe they just got married, maybe they just got divorced. So it's kind of transition housing. So there's more of a turnover for condos or townhomes. And then when I mail to the entire neighborhood, there are, you were talking about Deal Factory on before, the marketing, all that stuff. You can buy lists, you can buy pre-foreclosure lists, skip trace, all that stuff. For me, I'm mailing to the entire neighborhood because I might be that only letter that person receives because they're not on a list. So there's less competition marketing to these condos or townhomes. So any question on marketing? I know I talked about the GIS system. Oh, so when you go in there, you put in the neighborhood or you do it by map and you can pick the parcels. And then I have it, shot out to an Excel file. And then I scrub that Excel file and make sure I put the person's first and last name. I make it what's called proper, where the first letter is capitalized, and so it just is a little bit more friendly when they get that letter. And where was I going with this? Oh, also when I'm scrubbing that, if someone just bought their house that year or the year prior, I take them off the list. I save the postage. So Stacy, any questions on marketing at this point?
No, but can you kind of go a little bit deeper into like what you were just talking about? Because I think it was a little confusing. So start.
The GIS system?
Yeah, the GIS system.
Okay, so I'm in Wake County, North Carolina. So I go to the Wake County, it's wake.gov, and I go in there and I do a search for GIS. And again, that's Geographical Information System. And I go to this and it pulls up a map, and you can find, neighborhoods like townhome neighborhoods and just highlight all the properties in that neighborhood. And then it puts it into an Excel file, all the people that live in that neighborhood or own property in that neighborhood. This is also a free way to find absentee owners, just so you know. That's a little nugget right there. So then you put this into an Excel file. From the Excel file, I do a mailer and I put it into a letter. I have a letter that I send out that says, my husband and I are looking to purchase homes in your neighborhood. We don't charge commissions. We take care of all closing costs. We do all those costly repairs. If you're interested in selling, please give us a call. If you're not interested now, but considering a move in the future, please hold on to the enclosed business card. And so that letter goes to them, and they I've had people that have held on to my letter for a year, and we've gone in and bought their property from them. did I clear that up? Sorry, it's still early for me.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, and Amanda, so we had a question, sorry. Are you just hoping to find someone who may want to sell?
Yes,
Necessarily a distressed seller.
that is correct. So like I said, in this middle bubble here, it's less competition because it's not necessarily people who live in condos and townhomes typically only live there for about 4 years. So they're going to be moving, I get hits all the time, people, reaching out to me. So it's not someone who is a distressed seller, but remember, I market to condos or townhomes that were built in the 80s or 90s. So they have that little sweet spot where I can go in and just do carpet, paint, countertops. And then it's, that little bit of updating provides huge profits.
Well, and I think because I do the same thing that you do, honestly. I call it farming. I call it farming neighborhoods. But I do subdivisions. I don't do condos and townhouses. I do subdivisions. And you can go and say, like, this is a good subdivision. I think that would be a rehab. And then you can mail out to it. It's exactly like the condos and townhouses. It's not buying a list. It's just like looking at the neighborhood.
Correct. So you can see when they bought it, what they paid for it. That's all in the GIS system, in that Excel file that you can download.
Okay, we have more questions, just so you know.
Okay.
Okay. How do you choose your area to mail to? Is it only because they're condos and townhomes?
So I market to these specific areas just because I know I can flip them in 5 days. Like I said, I do Facebook ads. You were talking about carrot.com on the REI USA website. I use them for my Facebook ads. So we will do flips like larger properties, etc. But I personally, my marketing, I focus on condos and townhomes. I pick my areas because they're built in the 80s or 90s. They have an ARV of around 200,000 because that price point in Raleigh, North Carolina and in Durham, North Carolina flies off the market. I know I can be in and out in 45 days. Okay. I buy it, I flip it, list it, and it's closing within like 45 days. So this is just why, I like to sprinkle my other flips with these, 5-day flips. It keeps my contractors happy. Number one, that's huge. So.
Okay, another question. Are you using first class mail or are you using UPS, every home direct system using? Well, how are you mailing stuff?
I literally in the morning, I work out at 6 o'clock and I'm not a morning person. So my husband knows not to talk to me before 9 o'clock. So from 7 to 9, I can sit here and watch my Gail King on the news and I will sign letters and, address I put regular stamps on them. I put stickers on all of my letters. I try to make it look very personable. And I do an average about 300 a week just to keep them going. I'll send a letter first to a community and then I will go back 6 months later and do a postcard and it still has that same picture of my husband and I. So it's, it's just reminding them. And then another 6 months later, they'll get another postcard. So, like I said, it's typically about 4 years and I'm only marketing to people who have owned it more than 2 years. So, I have a higher chance of, hitting someone who's looking to now, upgrade to a single family home. Any other questions?
Okay, yes.
Right.
Actually, this one says, this is a great suggestion. I want to just point that out to you. Okay, are you going to get into funding?
Yes.
Because we have some funding questions here. So let's just wait to that. Okay. And then, they're asking for go to the forms directory. If you're looking for any letters or any suggestions for letters, go to the forms directory. You guys, yeah, you're getting it. You're slowly getting it. Yeah. Okay. Are you buying them at a certain percentage price of the ARV?
Well, yeah. I will get to that. So that's, let me get to the next one. Any other questions on marketing?
Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Is this like wholesaling?
Kind of. Sometimes honestly, if it's in really good condition, I am not I will refer them to another realtor. Last year, we made $35,000 in referral fees. My husband's the realtor. And, we'll walk into some and I'm like, this is really, really nice. And I won't have that, percentage to go in there and be able to add new carpeting, new countertops, whatever it is to get that profit. So we refer them out. We have a couple real estate friends, realtor friends, and, they love getting our referrals. So these, like I said, these are really quick and easy to sell.
What's your response rate to your letter?
So I send about 300 letters a week. And again, I will do like new neighborhoods. They get a letter in the beginning with a business card. Then 6 months later, I do a postcard. Another 6 months later, I do a postcard. Then I might do another letter, just a reminder. We get calls probably once a week at least for these properties. And sometimes, like I said, we're referring them out or, it just depends. We were really slow in December and November just because those kind of slow down. But, there's times where we're flipping 3 or 4 of these a month. So.
Okay.
Ranges.
What area, let's see, are you interested in, and do you work with wholesalers?
Yes. Okay. So, when I go to, we talk about the different meetings, and there's one where I go and I tell all the wholesalers, I love a condo or townhome. And so just yesterday, like I said earlier, one of the wholesalers brought me a townhome, and there's a lot of meat on this bone. I'm super excited for the one we just got yesterday. And so they know, oh, Jen, she loves those condos or townhomes. Let me send it over to her. Now, this one was built in the 70s, and there's more extensive work that needs to be done with plumbing and things like that. So it's going to be a little bit more work, but there's a lot of meat on this bone. So we're super excited about it.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay. All right. And there's a big line across my screen. I don't know how that happened. That's weird.
We can see it too. It looks fun. I thought it looked like a cat scratch or something.
I know, that's crazy. Okay, all right, so team of contractors, and I mentioned this before. Why I love condos and townhomes is, number one, it's quick, easy money, but it keeps my contractors happy. So when I do those larger flips and, I need a painter to come in quickly, they're going to put me above their other investors that they work with because I give them work all the time. I keep them happy. It's higher volume of work for them. Now, it's typically my countertop guys, my painters, my flooring people, plumbers, carpenters here and there to fix, decks and things like that. It also, because I'm providing a larger volume of work, I can ask for lower labor costs. There's loyalty, which is huge. Like I said, I may get in a panic where somebody, does something wrong and I need my plumber immediately. He's going to put me above anybody else and come over because he knows that I give him constant work. I don't need quotes at this point. So I know my painter, I love him. He gives me $2 a square foot. And that includes cabinets and trim and everything. So I can say I have a 1,400 square foot townhome. I know, it's going to cost me $2,800. I don't need him to go walk the property and give me an estimate. It varies. Sometimes there's popcorn ceilings that he has to remove, which he hates. Sometimes there's wallpaper. So I may throw in, some extra bucks here and there, but, I know exactly what they're going to charge. My countertop guy is $29 a square foot for granite. And I typically do the same colors. My painter doesn't even, I do Sherwin-Williams alpaca everywhere. And it's what sells. I'm so over grays, but that's what sells. And so he knows, just keep a stock of it. When I'm in the properties, I will post a schedule for all the trades. And that was huge because my painter is the one who said this. He said, I need to know who's coming in when. So I literally post a schedule for the week. I'm going to show you one because I'm going to do a case study where I apply, where I did flip some, townhome in 5 days. And having that schedule there for the contractors to see, it makes it easier because they know, oh, the countertop guys are coming tomorrow, so let me make sure I get done with the kitchen and the bathrooms first. For my flooring and painting guys, whatever. So having that visual keeps them on track. And that organization also frees up your time. So questions about contractors. Does anyone have any questions on contractors? Anyone?
Let me give it a second. Sometimes there's a little bit of a lag.
That little line is crazy.
I don't know what that is, but okay. Yeah. So, what are some good tips on finding contractors?
So I'm part of several local meetups in the area, and part of the educational program I was a part of, we share contractors a lot. You want to find someone who's vetted. So I'm always asking for good ones. When I find a good one, I treat them like gold, which is huge. And then if I get super desperate, I'll go over to Lowe's or Home Depot and, hang out in the painting section for a little bit if I need to. I go to Sheetz, which is a gas station. I think it's similar to Wawa in Florida's, where all the contractors come up at noon, and here comes a painter, here comes a flooring guy. So, I meet them that way. So, but I definitely go for the vetted ones first. That's really, really important. Anything else on contractors?
Yes. Actually, no.
Okay. Oh, I forgot this was here. So in each one of my properties, I post a code of honor. And that's what, because when I get a property under contract, when I close on a property, I literally go there, I post my schedule for all my contractors, and I post my code of honor. So on here, they all know, and I see that thing is scratching right through. You can't see all of it, but there's, saying like no fighting, no loud music. If I come over with somebody with, maybe I'm showing our private money lender the property, the music has to be turned off. It has to be broom swept at the end of each day. And it's funny because, as a former middle school teacher, these grown men will like call each other out and, oh, so-and-so is outside fighting with it's silly, but, I did not think as an adult I'd be, babysitting grown ass men. So yeah, this is important. I keep it there, but they will call each other out. It's pretty funny. So I'm going to move on here. So you have tighter profit margins. I know someone was asking about this. Like I said, if I walk into a property and they're built in the 80s or 90s and they're the original countertops, original flooring, I'm like, yes, I can definitely work with those sellers. But there's also a smaller return of investment. So a lot of times if you've had a coach and they tell you when you're looking at all your numbers, never go below 10%. For me, I look at the actual number instead of the percentage of return of investment. So if I know I'm going to be in and out in 45 days, like literally 5 days flipping it and then listing it, and then it's under contract and it takes 30 days to close for the buyer, if I'm going to make $8,000 for that little bit of time, I'm all over it. So, and that freaks people out sometimes.
Like, I don't know why it just randomly mutes people sometimes. Just unmute yourself. Okay.
Right, where was I? Did I talk?
Now, we're good. Just keep going.
Okay. So, like I said, tighter, if I'm looking at a property and know I can make $5,000 for that little bit of work, I do it. $8,000, I'm on it. You always want to do your due diligence. You can, and that is by getting an inspection. And so you can have I have an inspector that I use all the time, and he knows exactly what I'm looking for. And if he goes there and says, oh, the HVAC system is about to go out, those homeowners know that. So then at that point, once it's under contract, I can go back and negotiate a lower price if needed. If it's windows, for example, that's another big expense where it's like, in that age point, you can kind of, there are it's like 50-50 if you're gonna have to replace windows. So if you are not able to get an inspector out there to look at the property, I would just do a higher contingency if you don't have an inspection. So with these tighter profit margins, remember, I know exactly what my contractors are gonna be charging. I do my due diligence. I have my inspector go out and look at the property. So because of the age of the home. And also I know I'm not replacing the roof because again, this is a condo or townhome. That's all the exteriors covered by the homeowners association. Sometimes we have to cover decks. We had to, do some insulation in a crawl space one time, just, weird things like that. But typically all the exterior is covered by the HOA. So that's why I can kind of trust my numbers and do that tighter profit margin. So any questions on the profit margin?
Let me look. Hang on just to see. No, I'm not seeing that. Oh, yeah. Sorry. What's a typical referral fee you pay out? Oh, wait, that's for like a wholesaler question. Okay, that's not a contractor question. We can do that one later.
Okay. All right, so the final one is financing. So with these quick projects, and there's times I'm doing 4 or 5 of these a month. Typically it's about 2 or 3 a month, but financing, when you have more projects, you're going to need more lenders. And the nice part, because I said the after repair values, I like that price point right about 200,000. You are going to need more private money lenders. So I use a hard money lender for the first position. That's on the deed. And then I will use a private money lender in that second position. So this is great if you are a private money lender and you only have about 20,000, 30,000 to invest. This is a great starter project for you. And sometimes with those people, because like I said, it could only be 45 days, they're not going to make much interest. So I will do a 3-month guarantee typically for these, if I'm paying them 10, 12%, whatever it is. But it's so it's a nice starting point. And then they're like, oh, they get a taste for private money lending. And they're like, I want to do the next project. And so it keeps rolling over. And then they start the more money that I make them, the more they start investing in my larger projects. So it's just a great, great, start for that private money lender to be able to start small. When we first got in this business, we were doing these large rehabs and, I'm looking for 100,000. So those are far and fewer between for your private money lenders. And lastly, for financing, do not over renovate a condo or townhome. You want to look at the comps and say, well, this one sold for this, they have this type of flooring. If they all have carpet, then keep carpet in there. I've never replaced the cabinets in any of them. I had to replace a vanity one time because it was just completely broken. I rarely will retile the bathrooms. I have my people go in and scrub them. So if you like super upgrade, it's going to sit longer. And, people don't want to put a ton of money into a condo or townhome. So it's really, really important. If you're just starting out and this is your first type of project that you don't want to over renovate because, you see all the shows and you're like, ooh, I want to put shiplap here. And it's like, no, don't over renovate, keep it simple for what is sold. So any questions on financing? I think there was one earlier.
Yes, let me find it. Hang on. Find it. Oh, here it is. Any good tips? Do you use funding or your own cash for your deals?
Never my own cash.
Okay.
There are too many people out there that want to be part of the passive side of real estate, and by being private money lenders. So there are times where I can't spend their money fast enough. I can't get deals quick enough to fund them. So we never use our own money. We have a whole slew of private money lenders that we work with that, they love investing with us because it's quick and easy.
What's the difference between private and hard money?
Hard money is more like they're like a bank, and they are, it's like getting a mortgage, but it's a short-term loan. So they're going to be charging higher percentage or a higher interest rate. But hard money lenders work with investors all the time, and they know that they're going to be charging us more money to borrow their money, but they know how there are hard money lenders where if I'm doing a renovation and, I borrow what I need in the beginning. And then when I do the framing or whatever it is, that first thing, then they pay us more money to, they give us money to pay for our contractors. And then the interest starts adding up with that. So that's another thing you have to look at for hard. I said that so quickly. I'm sure that didn't make sense. So Stacy, do you have anything you want to add about hard money lenders? They're out there. It's like borrowing money from a financial institution that is used to working with investors.
Yeah, and they're mostly asset based. So there's two different types of lenders: credit based and asset based. So they look at the deal. Now they may still look at your credit. Some of them might still look at credit, but some might not. They might just be like, if it's a good deal. And actually, the longer that you lend with, the longer that you borrow with a hard money lender, then the less they look at your credit and the more they just look at the deal. Really, it's kind of a relationship. Now, what's a private lender?
A private money lender is a person, an individual that has a bucket of cash that is acting as the bank, and they are investing with you. They're giving you their money. They're being put on the deed for the property. They're put on our insurance. So it's protected by an actual asset, a physical asset, which is the home that we're renovating. So private money lenders can take money, they lend out of their self-directed IRA, they can lend out of their HELOC, they can lend out of their savings account. It's just people who have money that they're reinvesting back into real estate, as opposed to investing in the stock exchange or something of the sort.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, I have a couple more questions. What's the difference between hard money? Do you paint your cabinets?
Typically, yes. And my painter, like I said, in his $2 price per square foot, that includes him going in and painting the cabinets. If they're wood, I typically paint them white. And, I haven't done gray yet, but I won't say I won't, and then I put in the new countertops. I have a case study that I'm going to share with you how I applied my 5-day flip to an actual project, and you get to see all that fun stuff. Any other questions on financing?
Yeah, one more. Just what do you usually offer for a rate for your private money?
Between 10 and 12%.
Okay, let's see. Most private money lenders want first position. Any recommendations for securing second position for a private lender?
So most of my private money lenders know that they will be working with us. They're going to be in that second position.
It's really basically how you position it.
Correct.
And actually, if they only have like 50 grand, it's like, you just tell them, like, look, there ain't no house out there you're gonna be able to buy for 50 grand. So you're gonna have to go in second position.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
All right, so here is an example. This one was in Talon Ridge Townhome. It's a community in East Raleigh, Southeast Raleigh. I found this through a wholesaler. It has 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It was 1,400 square feet. Now, this one was built in 2006. And so this was one of those cases where a wholesaler brought it to me. And I was like, I don't know if I can do anything to it. But it was offered at a great price. It was an absentee owner, and the people who were renting it were a little on the rough side. So we did a walkthrough. This was in 2020. We did a walkthrough April 30th. And then we waited for the tenants to vacate, and we purchased it on May 29th. So the purchase price was $120, and we estimated the ARV to be around $165. So it was, like I said, so being that it's, 2006, I kind of figured I wouldn't have to do anything with the HVAC. I figured the windows would still be working really well. So, we jumped on it. So these are the before photos. So when I walked in, there's I was like, oh, so they did not take really good care of this property. So you can see, so already I'm having to replace flooring. The kitchen, I don't remember, this picture. So once I closed on this property, I had neighbors, all the neighbors started coming over, like, oh, are you moving in? Thank you so much. And because I guess there was kind of a drug issue with the people who are living here. And you can see like the front door, this was a first for me to have to replace a door. You could see where a battering ram from the police, and they busted through the door because I think there were, a drug issue of some sort. So I was like, okay, well, I have to get my carpenter over here to fix this. We had to replace that front door. So that line is really driving me crazy. So these were my first repair, my first repair estimator. These were the numbers I came up with. So again, I was buying this for 120, and these are what I, estimated. So that paint, because it was pretty rough, I knew my painter was going to have to do, some fixing of holes in the wall and things like that. So I upped it to 3,500, replaced the front door. We were only going to do the countertops and the sink in the kitchen. I thought I could save the ones in the bathroom. There was a leak in the ceiling. I could see like a wet stain on the ceiling. So I figured there was possibly plumbing issues. Cleaning alone at the end was going to be $250. But that I did not know when these people moved out what all they were going to take with them. So I kind of estimated $1,500 for the removal of all the junk and then the flooring demo. I did a contingency of $1,500, which is typically higher than what we do, just because I was not able to get in there and have an inspection.
Yeah, wait. So, yep. Real fast, a couple questions. Are you putting granite in, or just like that's like for mica prices, right? Or what is that?
No, granite for me is $29 a square foot, and that previous number was just for the kitchen. Mm-hmm. So let me go back.
Yeah, okay, so $1,000, but it must have been a small kitchen.
It was a smaller kitchen, yeah.
Okay.
$29
a square foot is what she's getting.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody asked that.
All right, so how we financed it, we used a hard money lender. We used Lending Home, and we borrowed $105,900. And then we used gap funding. We used a private money lender, and we did that $30,000. And I think we were both at about 10%. Lending Home may be like 9%, and then like a point. And if a point when you borrow is 1% of what you're borrowing. So, for a broker or whatever who's doing it, they get that point. And then gap funding. So any questions on that? Oh, wait, and my estimated hold time was going to be 3 months because I wasn't sure, this was an area, I didn't market to this area. This was brought to me by a wholesaler. So I was not as familiar with the area. When I was talking before about all the letters and things that I send out, I know those areas very well. So I know how quick they go. This one I was a little unsure of. Again, it was a little out of my date range. It was 2006 it was built. So we weren't sure if it was going to sit on the market for 2 months.
Why didn't you just use private money for the whole deal?
That's a great question. So we had a friend of ours who was, just bugging us about, growing his money for him. And so he had $30,000, and this actually worked out perfectly. I'm like, boom, we just got this one. And so this was a way for us to be able to grow his money. There are times where we use private money lenders if they have, the whole 140 or 135 that they're going to lend to us. It is, but again, like I was saying before, this is great for those people who are just starting out who, they were following me on Facebook and they said, hey, we want to be private money lenders. We only have about 30,000. So this deal just kind of fell into our laps. And I was like, perfect, we got something for you. So that was a great question.
And that's what happens when you start putting yourself out there is you just get random people with chunks of change and stuff. And so you just try to figure out a way to use their money.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is great.
Sorry. And then is there a reason why you don't use your own money since it's a quick flip?
I don't know why that question keeps coming up. I don't want to use my own money. I make my money on the back end for this. Again, I had this person who kept saying, I really want to be an investor. I want to do this passively. Here's 30,000. So this is just there's all these people out there, yes, I'm paying them 10%, but there was so much meat on the bone for this project that it just made sense to use their money. We don't ever use our own money to finance deals. No.
Exactly. She said, yeah. Lynette said, she says, I got a small amount of money, so I can be a gap lender, right?
Exactly.
Yes, that's exactly. If you don't have that much money, you're a gap lender.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So this is my projected timeline. So we closed on May 29th. When I get a property under contract, I immediately book my contractors. I said, this is your day, boom, boom, boom. And it's, typically 3 to 4 weeks when I get a property under contract before closing date. And so I make sure they're all lined up. So the closing was scheduled for May 29th. And then it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I had my trash removal guys scheduled for like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was literally going to leave there, drive over with the key and let them in, and they were going to remove all the trash. And again, didn't know what I was walking into because there were renters in there and this was a wholesale deal. So I didn't have as much control over what was being handed to me. And then Monday, June 1st, which happens to be my birthday, my contractors were going to start. And then by June 5th, all of their work was going to be done. I was going to post photos and list it on the MLS on that Friday, and then showing start the next day. So this is my projected timeline. This is where you go, if all the stars align, and this is how it becomes perfect. So this is what you pray for and hope that it happens. So these were surprises. On closing day, on that May 29th, it was delayed a few hours. And because it was so late in the day, it didn't record. And they told me it wouldn't record until Monday and that we wouldn't get the keys until Monday. I'm like, ugh. So now I'm scrambling because I canceled my junk removal guys. And now I'm thinking I'm like, can you guys go Monday morning? And they're like, no, we're booked. And so, that's when you're like, please let this all align. It didn't align. I was already getting ready to move my contractors out a couple days if I needed to, just to kind of push it forward. So I canceled the junk guys. They were so mad at me. They will not work for me anymore. So I had to find new ones, just because they were literally in the parking lot waiting. And I'm like, come on, let's record. And it took forever. So then I'm like, oh, he hates me, my junk guy. We go back and the lawyer's office calls me and says, oh, it recorded, come by and pick up your keys. I'm like, seriously? So my husband and I, we went over, we opened the door like, oh, let me see if I have it. Yeah. So they had everything was put in garbage bags at least, which was nice. But they were scattered throughout the house. So my husband and I went there and we spent the weekend taking all these garbage bags and putting them all in one room. And remember how I said about the battering ram and the police coming in? Well, there was all of these medical supplies. And I was like, interesting. But a lot of it was wrapped, but a lot of it was also expired. There was a stethoscope, there was, bandages, there were syringes, a ton of syringes. So instead of throwing all that out, I just went on social media. I said, hey, anyone know any teachers for nursing or anything that maybe can use these? They're expired, you can't use them, but I don't want to just throw them out. And literally that day, we took a carload of supplies, and it went to NC State for their nursing department, and they were able to, work with those things. So that was great. We ended up having to order a dumpster. That was a cost that I didn't expect. This is one of the items that was left there, and I could not find the other one, and no, I did not put it on, but social media went crazy over this one. They're like, I want that boot, but no, too many buckles, couldn't do it. This is the dumpster that we got. So my best birthday present, I'll tell this real quick, because again, it was Monday morning when all my contractors are starting, and there was this gentleman outside. Remember, the neighbors were really happy that these people moved out because I guess they caused so many problems. And there's a gentleman across the way. I said, oh, we're making too much noise. Like, no. And he tells me that he likes to do punch lists for realtors. I was like, jackpot. So I said, hey, we have a bunch of stuff that needs to go into a dumpster. Can I pay you $100 to move it? He was like, done. So he ran and got his sneakers. And so that was the best birthday present. He filled that dumpster for me for $100. Remember, I was thinking $1,500, but we did it ourselves. So here was the actual timeline. The contractors, they started June 1st, but what was different was we didn't have the trash removal. So my husband and I had to put a little elbow grease in to get out there and do it ourselves. This is what I post on my contractor schedule. And I make it so specific. So Monday I had my plumber coming in just to look at that possible leak that I saw on the ceiling. My counters get measured, and then you see it on Friday, my countertops are installed. So those guys know to go in. They know I do a single basin stainless steel sink. Boom, I'm watching time here. I got about 14 minutes left. My flooring people will come in and measure, and I put specifically LVP on the first floor laundry, and then carpet on the stairs and in the bedrooms upstairs. I had the guy come over, a carpenter, come fix that front door. There are some issues with the deck I'm sorry, there was not a deck on this one. I'm confusing property, sorry. So he replaced the front door. Oh, so underneath the sink, there's a water leak, and so it was very warped in the cabinets, and so my carpenter was able to fix that underneath the sink. So these are all the things. Anyone have any questions about this schedule? Because this is what saves me. My painters know to go in there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then my flooring and countertops come in, and then my painter will actually come back Saturday morning and do any touch-ups from any of the installs that happened the day before. So any questions on this? We're getting close.
So we do have one question, and it's actually, I think it's a pretty good question. If you're not a realtor, is it profitable to use an agent? Because like you have your husband listing this, right? So you don't have to pay those fees.
Well, we have to pay the realtor who's buying it. But yeah, it saves us a little bit of money. But when you see how the numbers work out, you can absolutely use a realtor to buy things, and because there's still meat on the bones.
Okay.
On the bone. All right, so these are before and after photos. This was the kitchen. This was after we cleared it out. Again, sorry, I don't know why that streak is across the screen. And then we went in, we put LVP on the flooring, luxury vinyl plank. We kept the appliances, and you see we painted those cabinets. Those are the same cabinets. My guy knows to go in and just paint them white, and then new countertops. And there's actually underneath the sink, you can see some, there's an issue there with when they redid the flooring, and my painter, I took these pictures before my painter went in and touched it up. This is just another angle. You can see that sink in there. I put in the single basin one. Buyers love that. The stove, I have an awesome cleaning team. They just could not get that ring off it, and it was covered in grease before. So we ended up having to replace that stove. This is one of the bathrooms, and I thought I would be able to keep the countertops and everything, but once I put that flooring in there, the LVP, and I just went ahead and replaced all the countertops as well, and I replaced the mirrors. That's a low cost thing that you can do that gives big returns. So see how that mirror it makes it look so much more classier. This is another one of the bathrooms. Yeah, so the flooring was made a huge difference. This is the upstairs before, and so we replaced the carpet and we painted. That's that alpaca color that I was telling you about. This is the master bedroom. You can see the carpet in the doorway, on the doorway on the left, the carpet was all tore up. What a huge difference, just cleans it up nice and neat. Oh, and by the way, let me see. If you notice the ceiling lights, I will always, because you have mixed matched ceiling fans. And so I just put up, just little lights, and they can, swap them back out for a ceiling fan if they want to. This is downstairs. There's carpet. We put the LVP everywhere. There was a spindle missing in the railing, so my contractor fixed that. So these are the actual repair costs, and I'll go kind of quickly through this. My painter, like I said, he only charged me the $2,800. It's $2 a square foot. It's 1,400 square feet. I, kind of bumped it up in the beginning I wasn't sure if he would charge me more for other things. The unexpected cost was that dumpster to replace the oven. We did have to replace the garbage disposal. We pressure washed the exterior and those bathroom mirrors, and then just miscellaneous stuff. So the big difference was the junk removal. We didn't have to do any of that demo. So that went from $1,500 only to $100 that I paid the gentleman across the street, which was my loved, it was a great birthday present. So my total cost ended up balancing out. It was just $200 more, $300 more. So any questions on these repair costs?
Yes. Do you use a similar schedule for your longer flips?
So the longer ones are more kind of align with when we are taking draws from our lender. So if we're using a hard money lender, so it'll be framing and all that will be, the first benchmark. And then the next one would be, doing the installation or electrical or all, so it's different benchmarks there. It's not at, like with these are kind of lipstick jobs, just a quick schedule. And everybody sees what they're doing. But yes, we still do the code of conduct in all of our properties. We let the other contractors know, but it is spread out a little bit more because it's more labor intensive. All right, so June 6th, remember we closed May 29th, June 6th, which was a Saturday. My painter showed up that morning. He did the final touch-up paint. 12 noon, the showings began. We had 18 showings on Saturday and Sunday. We had 5 offers. I'm telling you, this price point is hot, hot, hot in our area. We're under contract Sunday evening at $7,000 over asking. Monday, that contract fell through, even though she had a proof of funds letter. She was not able to come up with the funding. I don't know what it was. So we called the next person in line, and then we ended up being under contract for $4,000 over asking. So 13,000. The interest we paid was just 1,600. Holding costs, that's electric, that's HOA with these condos or townhomes. You got to make sure, don't forget about the HOAs. Closing costs. So someone was asking about, paying a realtor. So here, commissions is next. Commissions, we paid $4,000. And it would have been more if we had to list it with a realtor, but my husband lists them. And the closing costs are the attorney fees, all that fun stuff. And then the sale price, we ended up at 169. Remember, we listed it for 165. We thought that would be the ARV. So let me get over here. We had a total profit of 22,864. Now this one is kind of a unicorn, I will be honest. But this is for literally 5 days. I showed up on, well, we did do all the moving of the garbage, but really for a 5-day flip with a profit of $22,000. And again, like I said, it's a bit of a unicorn. We sometimes make only $8,000, $10,000, but if you're doing 3 or 4 of these a month, I mean, it really starts adding up. So yay, that is it. Any questions?
One more question.
Yes.
How do you borrow for such a short period of time?
That's what a hard money lender does.
So that you're using hard money lenders, and they don't have any kind of you can do any time frame with the ones. Lending Home because I know I've used them before. Mm-hmm. They don't have any prepayment penalties or anything like that, or
nope.
Okay, cool, good. What else? What other final questions on rehabbing? Oh yeah, okay, go ahead.
Oh, and this is my, because Stacy's such a giver, I have an ebook that I wrote. I am certified Jack Canfield. He wrote the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, but he wrote a book called The Success Principles. And in there, I was going through it and I decided to document as I was mastering my mindset. I know mindset is huge, and this is all kind of focused on real estate investing. So this is a free ebook. And, as Stacy is such a giver, I like to give something back. And you can go to my website, which is therealjenjosey.com. And it's Jen with 1 N. And on there are also my podcasts. And, Stacy has a great podcast out there. Stacy was so great to interview. So you definitely want to check it out. And our next speaker, Melanie, I interviewed her as well. She has a great episode out there as well. And I do blogs. So I'm very content oriented, got tons of content out there if you want to check any of it out, all free, therealjenjosey.com. So I'm going to get off this now so I can see everybody, I think. How do I not share? Let me just escape. No?
Yeah.
Was that it?
Maybe fine. Maybe I can help you. Hang on. Stop share. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, we got a couple minutes. Any other final questions for Jen on rehabbing? I think this is a good, I mean, actually the truth is these are the types of rehabs you should be focusing on right now. Smaller rehabs, not bigger ones, right?
Never know what the market's going to do with the Rona and everything. And, you know, if it's, people are going to start getting nervous and new administration and, you know, so.
Yes, exactly. So I think like, you know, and especially like nobody should be doing big, huge rehabs right now. And in fact, actually most lenders, they're not going to lend on big, huge rehabs unless you have like a lot of experience. So when you're out looking for rehabs, this is going to be like, she mentioned it, affordable housing, which is like the 200,000 ish kind of 150 to 250 or whatever in your area. You know what affordable housing is. And then quick flips. Don't stress yourself out.
I'm going to also touch on that because a lot of times rehabbers get a bad rep in the, you know, for gentrification, kicking people out of neighborhoods because they can't afford the taxes because you're flipping all these houses around them. For me, this is my way because I'm a former middle school teacher and I lived in townhomes. I'm providing affordable housing for my community as well. So that's huge for me. That's another major reason why I love doing condos and townhomes. And again, don't over renovate. You don't want to outprice that neighborhood either. So, yeah, that's it. I see Melanie just got on. Hey, Melanie.
She's on too. Yeah. So I think mobile homes, condos, townhouses, small flips. Hopefully you're getting you're getting a theme here, right? Affordable housing is the way to go right now. Okay,
all right.
Awesome. You did a great job. Thank you. Yes, you're a rock star. I agree.
Well, thank you very much, Stacy. And thank you for this opportunity. This has been such an awesome experience. On my podcast, by the way, I call myself the bestower of badassery. And so when I heard Badass Summit, I'm like, hell yeah, I want to be a part of that.
I bet a lot of ladies are like, I'm badass. I want to be a part of it. And I'm
That's
like, right. Come on in.
Definitely. So right. Great hands. I'm passing it over to Melanie.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you again. Bye,
okay. All right. Take care. Okay. We'll see you soon.